it is Monday, which means it's time for another video. Since my last video, I actually found out that I finally have 500 subscribers. It took me a long time to get there. I know I've had this YouTube channel for years now, and I'm really grateful for each and every one of you for getting me to where I am. Let's hope I get to 1,000 soon. So thank you guys for that. I know somebody pointed that out in the comment section that I finally got to 500. So, like I said, thank you. But I'm going to be continuing the series today. I'm actually almost done. I have 3 more years from the 1980s to cover. So, but it's been really fun. I actually really enjoy this. I might do it with 90s too, maybe. So, I'm not sure yet. I might take a little break from doing that and just do regular reviews. But anyways, today is my top 5 favorite horror films of 1987. This is a fun list because there are actually a lot that I really liked on this list, and there's some that did not quite make it to the top 5, but they are in the honorable mentions, so I will be mentioning them. But alright, that's really all I have to say about that. So my number 5 is a sequel that I actually like more than the original, which is probably a lot of people would disagree that this isn't as good as the original. I personally like it a little bit more, and that is Slumber Party Massacre 2. This is kind of like, the first one is very comedy too, like it was just silly. This one's even more silly. The killer is literally a guy using an electric guitar power drill. It's such a weird concept, but it totally works, and I just absolutely love this. I know Scream Factory / NECA did they did a figure on the first Slumber Party Massacre. I'm hoping that they're doing for Slumber Party Massacre 2, because I love the killer in this. He always has like music puns too. Like at one point he goes, "I can't get no satisfaction," which is a Rolling Stones song. So it's just craziness. The sad thing is with the first 2 movies, they're very short. They're not very long movies. I think they're like maybe an hour and like 15 minutes, which movie terms is really not that long for a movie. So it's kind of unfortunate, but it's still, they make what they, like, I feel like the people in this movie are just having a blast, and it's just, and the funny thing is, 2 of the girls in this film were each in a Friday the 13th film. One was in Friday the 13th Part 5, and the other was in Friday the 13th Part 7. So it's kind of funny seeing, like, 2 people from a Friday the 13th film and a movie together. Like, not even from the same Friday the 13th film. But yeah, that's my number 5, Slumber Party Massacre 2. Go check it out if you haven't. I'm pretty sure it might still be on Tubi TV. I'm not positive. But anyways, my number 4. I actually have a list this time, so I don't forget any honorable mentions, because I'm not gonna lie, I forgot to mention some honorable mentions in the past couple top 5s, so I'm kind of disappointed. So I wrote a list this time, so I don't remember. So if you see me look over, that's why. So my number 4 is Hellraiser, which is such a great film. Like, it's so scary. It's like, you know, with a lot of these films that I'm actually mentioning on this list, aside for like one other film, they're very like silly, like not to be taken seriously. But some not, I mean, the one isn't, but isn't so serious, or isn't so silly. But this Hellraiser is not a silly film. This is very serious, very scary. Pinhead, who's not even called Pinhead in this, he's just called lead Cenobite. He wasn't even supposed to be like the main star, and all of a sudden he's this main star. It's kind of crazy how a character like that can become an icon, and Doug Bradley does an amazing job as him too. So do the other Cenobites. My favorite Cenobite actually is the Chatter. I always if you guys remember, if you've ever seen there goes my cat. If you've ever seen, it was this DVD/VHS. It's called Boogeyman, the Killer Compilation. It was like a bunch of clips from different horror films. I remember watching, not seeing Hellraiser at all, only that one scene at the end of Hellraiser with Frank getting torn apart, which is so iconic, and he's like, Jesus wept, and body parts ripping everywhere. I remember first time seeing Chatter, and that fucking Cenobite, honestly is the scariest looking Cenobite. Like, I think he just looks cool, and the way he's just chattering his teeth, obviously, because he's called a chatter, and I think he's better than Pinhead, personally. I like him better than Pinhead. But, yeah, Hellraiser is a great film. I've only seen 2, which Hellbound is awesome as well. Like, that is a great film, like, brilliant. And Hellraiser 3, Hell on Earth, which a lot of people don't like. I actually like Hellraiser 3, but I have not seen the other ones, but I heard they're really not that great. So to me, they probably should have just ended with the first 3. But yeah, it's my number 4, Hellraiser. Fun film too, like, love it. But my number 3 is actually, I'm gonna step away from America. Well, technically Hellraiser isn't from the United States. It's from, like, Clive Barker isn't an American. He's from the UK. But, I'm going to be going over to Italy with Dario Argento, this is actually my favorite Dario Argento film, and that is Opera. A lot of people say this is the last great Dario Argento film, which is kind of sad, but I absolutely love this. I have, like, this big, Blu-ray that I got. It's like a 3-disc thing, comes like a poster and everything. Like, I remember, and the first time I watched this was maybe like a couple years ago, randomly on Shudder. I always thought the cover art was like scary, because there's like this girl with like pins going at her eyes. I always just thought, like, that intrigued me. That made me want to watch it, which is a good, like, when you see a poster like that, it's usually a good thing, and it makes you want to see a movie. It's kind of what that, the people who create posters, that's their job. But watching on Shudder, I actually, like, it was just great. And the thing is, there's like 80s metal mixed in with like some of the scenes, like the death scenes, which is funny, but it doesn't even matter, because it's just like Dario Argento films, they always have great kills. Like Diana Lucio Fulci, always great kills, blood, and it's just, it's fun. Like, absolutely love this film. I actually haven't seen quite some time, but this definitely is probably, like, it's in my top 5 favorite Italian horror films of all time, which people might not put in their top 5, but this is definitely in my top 5. And I mentioned too, about Demons, that's definitely my number 1, but this is probably actually my top 3, honestly. But if you haven't checked Opera out, great Italian horror film. It's kind of like, I haven't seen anything from Dario, or I know he made stuff after this, but I didn't watch anything else after this film. But yeah, go check it out if you haven't. Opera 1987, obviously. But my number 2, now a lot of people say, like, kind of like, go, if this is their favorite vampire movie, or if Fright Night's their favorite vampire movie, this might be a little bit, I don't know, it differs on the day, but it's The Lost Boys, which is iconic, and one of my favorite scenes, doesn't even have anything to do with the actual vampires, is Tim Capello playing I Still Believe, shirtless, with a saxophone. And that's a great song too, by the way. Like, that is an amazing 80s song with him playing the saxophone. He's like oiled up and shirtless, and it's just, I guess that was a thing in the 80s. Obviously, I was not around in the 80s. I was born in 96, so I didn't get to experience what the 80s was like. But honestly, watching that scene, it just looks like a fun time. Like, all these 80s films, like some of the party scenes and stuff, it just looks fun. From what I heard, they wanted this originally to be, like, because it's called The Lost Boys, they wanted it to be with, like, kids, but obviously they're, like, more adult, like, kids, and it's kind of a shame, but honestly, I love it the way it is. The two Coreys, amazing. The Frog Brothers, amazing. Kiefer Sutherland's amazing. Everything's just so great about this film. Now, there are 2 sequels, Lost Boys The Tribe and Lost Boys The Thirst. I have not seen Lost Boys The Thirst. I've seen Lost Boys The Tribe. kind of shitty, but honestly, it's kind of like a guilty pleasure. I watched it not that long ago, and it's not good by any means. It's pretty bad, but I still enjoyed it for, I guess, for what it was. It tried to be like a sequel to this iconic movie, but it kind of failed. But yeah, that's my number 2, The Lost Boys. Obviously, you guys have probably seen The Lost Boys. It's definitely, when people think of 80s horror films, it's definitely up there. But yeah, it's my number 2. But before I go on to my number 1, I do have 3 honorable mentions, ones that didn't quite make it to the list. But the first one is Stage Fright, directed by Michel Suavi. He I think this is actually his debut his directorial debut. He also went on to do movies like Cemetery Man, if you're familiar with that film. This is, I know, like, a couple years ago they did a movie called Stage Fright, which is like a musical horror. I don't know if it's directly like if they were kind of like following after the original. I'm not sure, but this movie's great, and not a lot of people talk about it. I like how it all takes place, like, during this, like, theater thing, and the killer is wearing what the killer is wearing in this, like, musical dance, like, theater, thing. It's like he's wearing an owl mask. It's such a strange, like, concept, but with all of course, it's Italian horror, too. With all these, like, Italian horrors, they have such weird concepts, but it works for them. And it's just a fun film. I say that with, like, every film that I watch, but I enjoy films like this. My phone is shaking. I enjoy films like this, and it's, like, I love this film, and just not any Italian horror, but mostly a lot of Italian horror that I really love. But another honorable mention, Evil Dead 2, actually my favorite in the Evil Dead franchise. I'm not counting the remake on that because I'm counting the original trilogy, of course. A lot of people say that their favorite is Army of Darkness. I personally, it's not that I hate Army of Darkness, it's not my favorite. Evil Dead 2 is definitely the best. It's a remake of the original Evil Dead, basically made better with more of a budget, so you get more gore, more, like, better effects. It's just all around a better film, in my personal opinion. And then the last honorable mention is The Stepfather, which is another one I don't really hear a lot of people talk about, and it's such a creepy film. I remember the first time watching it, in the beginning, with all the dead children, and the whole family's just dead, and it's just crazy how this guy can hop from family to family and try to kill them all, and just keep repeating the same process. Terry O'Quinn does an amazing performance. He's an all-around, like, terrifying person. But yeah, that's my last honorable mention, Stepfather. But on to my number 1. This one is actually my favorite of the series, and that is A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. And I'm definitely not in the minority there. I've heard people say that they like this a little bit more than the original. The original is definitely in my top 5, but this is definitely my number 1. I love this film. I used to watch it all the fucking time, like, as much as I could. I love the soundtrack with Dokken. They did Into the Fire. They also did Dream Warriors. They did the actual theme for this movie, and it's just a great film. This is when you start to see the more comedic side of Freddy Krueger, but he's funny and scary in this. So, like, later on, you just see he's more funny than anything. But this is when you see, like I said, the more scary, or the more funny side, but it works for him. Patricia Arquette, this is actually, I think, her her acting debut, like, actually, as a lead actress. Nancy's back in this, Heather Langenkamp. I'm glad they brought her back, as much as I like the second Nightmare on Elm Street. I'm glad they brought her back for this one. Robert Englund is amazing. And the director, this Chuck Russell, he directed the Blob remake, which I will be talking in the next video. But this is a great film, and I know a lot of people agree with me that this is an amazing film. Some people don't like Nightmare on Elm Street 3, which is okay. I'm not gonna hate you for hating this film. I'm not that kind of person. Like, oh, you don't like what I like, fuck you. I'm not gonna do that. Like, if you like what you like, I like what I like, that's just perfectly fine. But yeah, it's my number one, Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors. So I hope you guys enjoy this. Video definitely dragged on longer than the other ones for some reason. I think because I was talking in the beginning. So I'm sorry for that if you don't really like overly long videos. But comment down below with some of your favorites from 1987. And in the meantime, I'll see you guys on Thursday, where I will be doing my top 5 favorite horror films of 1988. So I'll see you guys then.